Welcome to another edition of Weather and Climate Chat. Monday, May 23rd, just a week away until Memorial Day. Dr. Davis and Monsoon Mike. Dr. Davis, welcome back. How are you?
Good to be back. I'm doing good.
Yeah, and as we're recording this around 10:30 Monday morning, the sun has returned. Kind of an unfortunate pattern. Thursday, Friday, beautiful. Monday morning, so far, beautiful. Saturday and Sunday, not so great.
Yeah, we had a pretty slow-moving
Yeah.
low-pressure system that was crossing Maryland down toward Delmarva. And fortunately, most of the rain seemed like it stayed further down
Yeah,
that
it was
direction.
just a very showery type rain, yeah.
And by the time we were supposed to get heavy rain on Saturday, it pretty much was pushed away as the trough that was over the eastern U.S. pretty much intensified and what we call deepened
Yeah.
and pushed that system out to sea.
I saw down north toward Philly, Delmarva, South Jersey, they had more in the way of a steady, moderate type rain, but we escaped that. One word that I did see in the National Weather Service discussion over the past weekend that kind of scared me a little bit was the dreaded O word of the Omega block. And the last time we had an Omega block, we had 8 days of rain, but fortunately this one doesn't quite seem as persistent.
And the time before that, we had very nice
9
weather.
days of sunshine, yeah. So
But this one doesn't seem to be holding up, like you said, as
Yeah.
well as the others were.
right.
So chances are we shouldn't be getting in a monotonous period this week. Well, in terms of precipitation earlier in the week, looks like
Yeah.
might have a chance then by late of the week. Should be pretty dry.
We should mention Monday afternoon, Tuesday afternoon are prime times for potentially some slow-moving showers that could possibly even have some downpours. Would you say that?
Yeah, but there's a few characteristics in place right now in terms of severe weather indices that meteorologists tend to look at that aren't so favorable.
Okay. That's
For
good.
example, the CAPE. I don't know if you know about that
A
yourself,
little bit.
but it's a convective available potential energy, the
Okay.
acronym CAPE, and it simply means how unstable the atmosphere is, so
Mm-hmm.
how fast essentially the air could rise. And the values are typically given in joules per kilogram, so how much joules of energy is produced by 1 kilogram of air.
Mm-hmm.
And typically you want about 1,000, 1,500 joules per kilogram for any sort of like stronger storm.
Right.
Right now it's about 250 to 500.
So not that impressive.
Not that impressive.
Okay.
We have colder air aloft, which generally will keep convective buildup pretty much at a minimum. You're not going to get these very tall cumulonimbus clouds. They're going to be pretty low, elevated
Right.
thunderstorms. So that could limit the potential for hail. But we certainly could see a thunderstorm, but it doesn't look like anything really severe or damaging at this point.
Right.
Unlike what happened 2 years ago, just yesterday, as we were talking about off air.
Sunday was the 2-year anniversary of the great hailstorm in Berks County of which you still see some remnant damage. You might pass a car that has all these weird, pock marks all over it, and that was one heck of a hailstorm. Not so much around here, but the Reading area, Berkshire area, very bad hailstorm.
Yeah, it was further down toward the south, but
Yeah.
they had, I believe, baseball-sized hail.
Yes, they did.
Was reported in some
And
areas.
they actually called out the PennDOT snow plows to plow hail off the roads. So that was pretty historic.
Yeah, because if you get
Yeah.
a large hailstorm, it
Yeah.
pretty much looks like snow on the
Yeah.
ground.
So that was definitely a pretty historic day. So hopefully nothing, and we were pretty certain nothing like that the next couple days, but still keep an eye out for some slow-moving showers over the next couple days. Then Wednesday, looks like we finally break free from this blocky type pattern, and we go towards a more of a summer-like pattern. And in fact, I'm seeing some of the hype masters out there on Facebook promoting the big 9-0 possibly. I'm not sure. That might be a little aggressive.
I don't think we're getting to 90.
Okay.
I do think we could be seeing mid, potentially upper 80s in some local pockets, but
So it's definitely
I
a
don't
change.
think 90, not yet at least.
Okay. Either way, that's still quite a change from where we've been.
Considering earlier this month we were well below average and people
Right.
were like, it's too cold.
Right.
We were getting snow in some areas.
That's
just
true.
A week and a half ago now.
So, you were going to hear people complaining, as you hear every year, about instant summer. You go from it being lower than average to higher than average, and not a whole lot of middle ground this spring so far.
No,
So-
and I guess it could be attributed to the whole realm of climate change. Where
Right.
If we're having colder winters, if we're having more moderated
Right.
transitional seasons between fall and spring, and then you have warmer summers, you have much more extreme weather going on. Those transition seasons look pretty muted it in the whole seasonality of our general climate.
So you and I always like having a little bit of fun, Dr. Davis, but when there's some kind of extreme temperature or interesting temperatures coming up, and seeing. So it looks like Thursday and Friday are our best 2 days to get the warmest. So let's you and I place a temperature call on each of those 2 days and see where we land up, and we'll compare it with the Reading office and the Reading station and the Allentown reporting station. Thursday, the National Weather Service for Kutztown's going with 85. Friday with 84. They also have a chance of thunderstorms both days. And keep in mind, those thunderstorms are more of the garden variety, haze, heat, and humidity generated type storms.
Yeah, they're not going to be widespread. They're going to be fairly localized.
So it'll be pretty summer-like weather. What do you think for Thursday and Friday? I'm going to be aggressive here. You might disagree with me, but I've just seen these temperatures bust low way too many times. I'm going to say we could see an 89 on Thursday and or Friday. What do you think?
89 is kind of vigorous there.
Yeah, I'm going wild here.
I'm going to go high myself, but I don't think I'm going to go that high. I'm going to say 87.
Okay, 87. All right, we'll see. And just for giggles, let's see what the Weather Channel is going with on Thursday and Friday for our area.
They tend to be a little more aggressive, I think,
on
temperatures.
My slow-moving app here might take forever. Okay, here we go. Thursday we have 86, and Friday they have 87. So okay, they're in the same realm. Closer to you though. I'm definitely being more aggressive.
Well, I'm slightly warmer.
You're slightly warmer. Yeah. Okay, we'll see. Looks like we cooled down a little bit over the weekend, Memorial Day weekend. I know there was some concern. I don't know if you saw it in the discussion yesterday. From Mount Holly office of a backdoor front kind of messing up the holiday weekend a little bit and making it, getting an easterly flow here and bringing temperatures back below normal. But now I see them mentioning this morning that front washing out and not really being much of an issue. What do you think long term for the Memorial Day weekend, since we won't be recording next Monday, obviously?
I'm going to be optimistic with what you're going to have in terms of weather forecasting for the Memorial Day weekend. Say it's going to pretty much wash out.
Okay, that's good.
I think we're going to have more of precipitation chance a little bit later in the weekend, probably toward Monday-ish. It looks like a more vigorous system comes through. Okay.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Looks like we have some showers over the next couple of days. Finally, some real spring, almost summer-like weather. And it will be summer-like weather because we'll be if we make the upper 80s, like you and I are forecasting, mid to upper 80s, that's a good, 15 degrees above average?
Yes.
Okay.
Because average high temperature this time of year is about low 70s.
We just can't have many days in the low 70s, can we? We're either in the upper 50s, low 60s, or the upper 80s. Well, like you said, climate change might have something to do with that. So get used to it. That might be the way of the future. Okay, so something to look forward to after some dreary weather, and we'll go from there. Topic of the week, Skywarn. Let's tell our listeners, we might have heard, it's not necessarily a household name, but perhaps it should be more. Skywarn Spotters, the Skywarn program. What is Skywarn, Dr. Davis?
Skywarn is a program established by the National Weather Service, NOAA, to essentially educate the public on how to assess severe weather or storm spotting, as it's sometimes called. So essentially what goes on is you go take a class, or it's usually a couple hours or so long. They have it some restaurant or conference center, sometimes even online. And for 2 hours, you get taught how to essentially record storms, what to look for, what sorts of things you can report to the National Weather Service, and then they'll use that data for essentially compiling a database for what happened during the most recent storm event. So if we get a hailstorm that comes through over the summer, and these spotters will find, hey, I got a quarter-size hail. You then report that to National Weather Service. They give you that hail report at that location. They can see where the greatest hail was at that time.
So playing devil's advocate here, now you could probably say in this day and age of social media, everybody is a spotter of sorts. You have, everybody, Aunt Martha and Cousin Johnny in this town and Billy over in this town all sending in their reports via social media. But what makes being a Skywarn spotter a little better? Is it that you're actually certified to understand certain concepts?
Yeah, the way to actually give that information to the public.
Right.
Like, for example, with hail.
Right.
You don't want to take a picture of just the hailstone because you have no scale to
You want to put it next to a
You
coin
want to
or
put it next to a
something.
coin,
Yeah.
hold it in your hand,
Right.
put it next to a ruler, something along those lines so they could actually have an idea as to how big that actual hailstone was.
Mm-hmm.
So you essentially have a greater understanding as how to report and what to be looking for in terms of actual severe weather versus, say, your average person just taking, like, hey, I found this hailstone.
Yeah. Now, Skywarn spotters have been known over the years to save lives. I mean, because, radar is great, and sometimes especially in tornadic situations, you can see the rotation maybe starting a little bit on radar, but there's nothing like an actual person on the ground who's seeing something and reports that into the National Weather Service. That's really the best way.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's always good to have eyes on the ground.
Right.
Because most often you're going to have the radar showing some type of rotation within the cloud, but it's always good to have someone on the ground actually seeing that.
Right.
And with the Skywarn program, you learn how to do that safely, so you don't have to essentially risk your life to gain that information versus, say, just going outside like, hey, there's a tornado out there.
Right. So who can be a Skywarn spotter? Pretty much anybody, right?
Pretty much anyone.
Good.
All you have to do is pretty much register for a class that is offered by the National Weather Service local office. For us, it's the Philadelphia office in Mount Holly, New Jersey.
Right.
There is a webinar tomorrow that you and I will be
Yeah,
part of.
that's one nice thing about the computer age. Last time I was certified, the internet really wasn't that popular yet, so it was just, like you said, going to a restaurant, going to a hotel, whatever. But now they're offering more of these online courses, which is great. Makes it even more convenient for people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you want to learn more information about that, you can go to the National Weather Service's local forecast at www.weather.gov.
And you get a handy little card that has your ID number, so then you can just call in or punch into your computer your number, where you're located, and what you're observing, and that observation could potentially save a life.
It could.
Yeah. So once again, if you're interested in the Skywarn program, if you can't do the webinar on Tuesday, there's other ones, and all the different National Weather Service offices offer their own classes around their coverage area. And we're kind of on the border of the Mount Holly, Philadelphia office and also the State College office, and they have their own list of events going up that way, up in northern Pennsylvania. So,
And since we're getting close to severe weather season,
Right, exactly.
it's always good to have
That's when
that
they usually
going
do
into
these-
it.
yeah, and that's when
usually
they-
around this time is where you're going to have them being offered.
but it's not just severe weather. Skywarn spotters I've seen have been useful during snowstorms. I saw the Skywarn word come up a lot during the blizzard or the semi-blizzard in or late January. So
And if you ever go to National Weather Service's webpage, so sometimes they issue a Hazardous Weather Outlook, HWO, it's sometimes called, and at the very bottom it says
Skywarn spotter activation.
Skyward Spotter activation,
Yeah.
likely in the next 24 hours or not likely in 24 hours. So you can see when they think there's going to be severe weather and essentially disseminating that information to their Skywarn spotters to be ready for reporting.
So they're all ready to go. Okay, well, it's definitely a fun and very informative program, and we invite you to check out the National Weather Service's website. You can just go to weather.gov, find your local office, and I think even right on weather.gov there's a big button just for Skywarn, because it's a pretty
Yes.
important program.
There is.
So it's not going to be hard for you to find. Click on that, find your local office, find out when your classes are, and like I said, it's about a 1 to 2 hour class, and you'll be certified as a Skywarn spotter and be part of the process.
And you'll know just about as much as us in storm spotting.
That'll be fun, yeah. So, and who knows? This summer could be, being that we are leaning toward a more warmer than average summer and possibly a La Nina type summer. This could be a more active, stormier type summer.
Yeah,
So,
in fact, the severe weather season looks like it's starting to ramp up in the next couple of days. That's
Yeah.
not so much in our area, but across the country. And the tropics look like they're starting to get cranking.
today, me loving weather history, I just heard on the radio today. We just said yesterday was the 2-year anniversary of the hailstorm in Berks. Today is the 5-year anniversary of Joplin, Missouri, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, and that was one of the most serious outbreaks of all time.
During a La Nina.
Yeah, there was about 162 people, I think, died, and a hospital was wiped out, and an entire town was pretty much wiped out.
And that 2011 year, we
Yeah.
saw the most tornadoes.
That's right.
I think we had over 2,000, and we typically average about 1,200 tornadoes
Wow.
a year across the country.
So not to be pressing any panic buttons, but being a Skywarn spotter, you could be quite helpful this year. So.
Yes, you could.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it there. About 15 minutes. Dr. Davis, I want to wish you a very happy Memorial Day weekend
Same
coming
to
up.
you.
Hopefully, when we come back, we don't have any more Omega blocks or anything like that to talk about. We can just be in more seasonal, summertime type weather.
I sure hope so.
And you're getting dangerously close to your wedding. And have we checked that AccuWeather 90-day forecast lately, how it's doing? We're down to 30 days now. So.
Yeah, we're down to 30, so
Yeah.
the monthly outlook's starting
Yeah.
to look a little bit more refined.
Okay.
But I did check over the weekend.
Yeah.
Because people at the wedding I was at this weekend were asking
We're looking
me,
at it, yeah.
So what's weather like for your weekend? And it still says sunny and in the low 80s.
It's been pretty consistent about that. So
Yeah, nothing's changed too much.
hopefully we have a score in the positive check mark for AccuWeather's 90-day forecast for Dr. Davis's weather. For
Yes.
Dr. Davis's wedding.
Wedding weather.
Whatever. I'll just drop right there. All right, Dr. Davis, we'll see you. I don't know. Will you be in it next week at all after Memorial Day?
I will be in.
All right, so maybe we'll record Tuesday, but we'll be in touch. All right, we'll see you then.
See ya.